Hi, this is Mr. Burns. We have a Learn from Home day today. So you can see that I have a black folder in the Learn from Home Day folder. It's going to have this video in there. Our assignment for today, I'll show you that. Most of you already have it opened. I'll just open my second hour class. Going to go to the week of the 17th. And like I said, most of you already have this open, that chapter 9, slides 25 to 32. Your assignment is to complete that by 3:30 this afternoon. Completing the assignment is going to count for both getting your work done and your check-in. So remember that has to be done by 3:30. If you're not done by 3:30, you're counted as absent. All right, so you can email me this morning if you have questions about anything. I will probably post a Microsoft Teams link so you can jump in if you have any questions about that. But remember, what we want to do is complete the assignment. At this point in time, you can check out of the video. If not, you can stay in because I thought I would just go over the slides from yesterday. So I'm going to hit pause and do that. All right, this slide is all about Thomas Galbraith. Okay, Thomas Galbraith. That didn't work the way I thought it would. Oh well, let me go back to Thomas Galbraith here quick. What you want to know about him is that he is not a very good Indian agent. He had actually quit his job before the war started. The gold was late. He was going to get the gold and it didn't arrive on time. But that last bullet is what is really important. The mistake that he makes is he keeps those warehouses locked. And so the starving Dakota could have got food from him, from the federal government, but because those warehouses were kept locked, they voted to go to war. All right. Acton, Minnesota, that's where the first shots were fired. It was some kind of dispute over the cost of eggs. Or it could have been a shooting contest, but Braves killed 5 whites, and one of the men killed were Robinson Jones. After the killings took place, they fled to the lower agency, and they told the elders and the chiefs, and the men assembled to decide what to do. All right, on this next slide, we have soldiers' lodges. Soldiers' lodges were another cause of the U.S. Dakota War, and the soldiers' lodges were just young men that had gathered together and banded together and formed these organizations to practice the arts of war. So that's shooting their bows and arrows, that's riding and being able to shoot, that's being proficient with their firearms, that's knowing the tactics that they would use in battle. So these young men were also advocates, and by advocate I mean they were the men who were saying that it's time for us to go to war. So soldiers' lodges were one of the causes of the U.S. Dakota War. All right, let's see. On this next slide, we just talk about Little Crow a little bit, and you know that Little Crow is an important leader. People still listened to Little Crow and respected Little Crow, but his status was diminished, or his status was lower, or his respect was lower in 1862. And that was mainly because he had signed the Treaty of Mendota, and he had also signed the Treaty of 1858. And these two treaties took away most of the Dakota land, and they were supposed to get a lot of benefits from the government for doing this, but those promises were often broken or late in coming. So when Little Crow was saying that we should not fight, people listened to him, but not enough people listened to him. When he was accused of being a coward, that's when he decided to throw in with the Dakota that wanted to go to war. Teope, our book talked about him. He was just a farm Dakota on the lower agency, and he witnessed some of the first killings at the lower agency. He probably saw the bodies of the traders from the roof of his house. He definitely saw the stores and the warehouses being looted on the lower agency after the Medwakaden band there had opted to go to war. So He kept his family safe and kept himself hidden during the first attacks in the war. First days of the war, when you look at this picture there, you see all the smoke from the burning buildings. The first days of the war were incredibly violent. Most of the deaths occurred in the first 2 days after August 18th. The settlers did not know that war had been declared, and they were caught undefended in their farm places. So there's lots of killings all across southern Minnesota. Your book also tells you that, when the word finally got out that war was happening, it caused a great panic with up to 20,000 settlers fleeing their farms, trying to make it to places where there were more people, like New Ulm, Mankato, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Your book also tells the story of Mary Schwant. Mary Schwant was one of these people that she wasn't home that day. She was working for a nearby farm family, and she had fled with 2 men and 2 other girls, and they were overtaken by Dakota, and the men were killed and the women were taken hostage. This is the last thing we talked about yesterday, just Fort Ridgely. Fort Ridgely was attacked soon after the war broke out. The Dakota were not successful in taking Fort Ridgely. Probably one of the reasons why they were treated so harshly after the war was over is that instead of attacking Fort Ridgely on the first days of the war, they attacked a lot of settlers. All right, so that's it. Going to pause the video.